Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Jim, welcome to this last recording before the Christmas
I
holidays.
know. I feel very special, Guillaume. Thank you for having me.
You are. Thank you for coming. Let's jump straight into it. What led you from decades of global leadership roles into the fantastic yet stressful job of executive coaching and advisory?
Yes. Well, like many people that I'm sure you've bumped into, I have to give credit to COVID. But two things happened that led me on this path. One, I was working for 20th Century Fox, and 20th Century Fox got purchased by the Walt Disney Company, and that transaction closed in fall of 2019. And honestly, Guillaume, I was tired and I decided to take some time off and, kind of use the exit severance package. And I announced very grandly to the world that I would be back in April of 2020. And honestly, there was no world to come back to because of the impact of the pandemic. And that allowed me, really for the first time in, I would say, my adult life, to step back and talk about really what did I want to do with this next chapter? What did I want to do? Really, admittedly, the last chapters of my career. I knew I was I was in my late 50s. I was getting ready to turn 60. And the first thing that happened was the book. I wrote the book during the pandemic, All Pride, No Ego. And it came out and it did well. And then people started to ask me, well, what are you going to do with the book? And honestly, I hadn't really thought that much about it, but I had an executive coach at Disney. That was a huge part of my life. I had been doing advisory work for some great clients. And that's really when I took the leap and said, I think I'm going to do this full time. And so I went back to school for the coaching. I went back to Emory University here in Atlanta, Georgia, because I thought I wanted the academic foundation. So I did 6 months of courses and worked on getting my accreditation. And then at the same time, I was consulting for some great clients simultaneously. So I was moving back and forth between coaching individuals and teams and then doing advisory work. And I like that. I like the variety of that.
COVID, like for podcast, was the great activator of a wave of coaches.
It was. I had so many people, even in my coaching cohort at Emory, so many people decided to make the pivot during COVID. I think some people lost their jobs, some people voluntarily left their job, but I mean, I think there was a lot of pivoting in that time.
Yeah, which makes sense. People adapt. So what would you say is the biggest problem that you solve right now in your practice today?
In the coaching practice, I seem to attract and work with senior leaders who are in some kind of a transition, either new into their role, new to their company, or in many cases, considering similar moves to what I made, leaving corporate to go into consulting, or maybe they want to write a book, or maybe they want to coach. So I see a lot of people looking at options. I mean, that's a lot of my coaching work, is helping people kind of sort through options and really get to the core of what they want their next step to be. On the advisory side, because I tend to do a lot of work in experiential retail, physical retail and digital retail, retail is a tough industry. It's a tough industry at the best of times. But so a lot of the work I'm doing is trying to help companies be nimble and flexible and reactive to the customer and the competition, in what is, a pretty challenging marketplace. So it's very different. The individual coaching and the advisory are different. But hopefully I'm adding value in both scenarios. That's my goal anyway.
I like that. You said something very interesting here that I want to hook on.
Sure.
When I ask you what problem you solve, you didn't say, here is who I'm going after. Here is who I'm after. You said, I seem to attract.
Mm.
Tell me more about that.
Well, it's funny. I'm a coach and an advisor that has been very blessed to not have to do a lot of outbound business development. And I don't want to jinx myself at the end of 2025 by saying that.
Nothing wrong with outbound.
But because of my long career and my network and just my relationship building over the year, I've stayed in touch with a lot of people. And so again, the book was kind of an excuse to re-engage with people. But a lot of my work is through referrals. So either people maybe that I've worked with in the past, or, worked with someone they worked with in the past, or someone refers someone to me is what I mean by attracting. Rather than having to spend a lot of time on outbound business development, I tend to spend more time on kind of initial consultation calls and deciding if I'm the right kind of coach or advisor for this particular assignment. And I realize that's a blessing. That's why I don't want to jinx it. No. But it doesn't mean, as I go into 2026 and I think about scaling the business, it doesn't mean I won't do more outbound business development.
Yeah. That does make sense.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to double down on this one because I think we try to go after new business. We try to define who's our ICP.
Yeah.
We try to market the right niche. And all this is, that's something I preach, right? So I don't want to be hypocritical here. But I like the philosophy of being like, let's start by who am I naturally attracting and who seems to be interested in what I have to do. Now, this doesn't happen if you don't have a track record. But since you do when you started, that's an interesting way to see client acquisition. What's the outcome, Jim? Like, what is it that you help those executive leaders achieve? Is it career pivot? Is it being better leaders? What's the outcome?
On the coaching side, I hope the outcome is, better is a hard word, but improved leadership. I kind of like better than better because I think that they're good I think to even ask for coaching or seek coaching shows that you're a certain kind of leader, right? I think you already have a self-awareness. To ask for help, to be vulnerable enough to ask for help is a big first step. So I hope that I help them be better leaders, be a better version of themselves, to your point. And I think increasingly, it's a very challenging world. It's a very challenging marketplace. So I hope that I help them improve their job satisfaction, I would say, right? And have belief in themselves that they're on the right path and that they're doing good work. I think there's been a lot of change in the world that has made many leaders question, am I doing the right thing? Am I leading the right way? Am I building the right team? Are we offering the right product? Are we offering the right service? And so maybe I help calm them a little.
Yeah.
I really feel, especially coaching senior executives, I often say to them, I'm almost like an accountability partner more than a coach, right? I'm someone that helps keep them focused and helps keep them on a growth mindset. And again, But I also coach, younger leaders as well. I think it's different, people who are at different points of their career, you obviously coach differently. And from all of your other, because I've listened to your episodes, each coaching assignment is completely unique and custom and bespoke because it's based on the client. The client drives the relationship. The coach doesn't drive the relationship. The client drives the relationship. The result of coaching is, yes, it's a mutual relationship and contract, but the client really drives the results.
Mm-hmm.
Different than advising. I mean, advising, many times I'm more in charge because advising usually is there's a project with a deliverable and a deadline, and I need to deliver something by, X day or, the end of the month. Coaching is more of an ongoing, again, growth mindset process.
Yeah. I guess you've already alluded to it, but can you walk us through what has worked for you since 2019 to attract those clients? What are the marketing channels that you use?
I love this question, Guillaume. You're making me smile. Here's the first hint for all of your viewers and listeners. You've got to be humble again. I mentioned about humble and vulnerable enough to ask for coaching. You've got to be humble and vulnerable enough to say, hey, I'm doing this now and I would love some referrals. Like, you have to ask for help. LinkedIn by far is my best platform. By far. I think I find people there. I think people get to know me on LinkedIn. I post 7 days a week. I feel like I'm just telling stories. I'm kind of just telling an ongoing story on LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn is by far my best marketing platform. Instagram is good too. For me, Instagram tends to be more short form, obviously, and a little bit more immediate and a little bit more reactive. I think I'm more proactive and planned with my LinkedIn posts and stories. Attending conferences, doing book events, corporate speaking roles. I mean, I think all of it is ways of people understanding me and what I do and deciding if they want to spend time with me or not in a coaching relationship.
So that's interesting because I'm going to say 99% of the guests I interview on this show start with referrals, just because it makes sense. B2B coaching and consulting, I've said it a gazillion times just today, so not going to go over this again. But it just makes sense. Now, the thing that you do extra is that you ask for those referrals, which is, I think, something that not a lot of people are actually doing. So give us a bit more juice here. How do you do that? How do you ask for a referral without feeling too pushy, right? But at the same time, whilst getting the results? How do you do that?
Well, I mean, in many of my LinkedIn posts, and not every LinkedIn post by the week, I'd say once or twice a week, I will literally put a call to action at the end of my LinkedIn post that says, if you are interested in coaching or team development, please contact me, through the booking link on my LinkedIn page or, direct message me. I don't do that every day because I don't, to your point, want to be, quote, selling every day and asking for something every day. I really want my LinkedIn to be informative and value added. At the end of every corporate event or speech or training, I put up a contact card that has QR codes to my LinkedIn, QR codes to my website, QR codes to the book. If people want to go deeper with me, when someone connects with me on LinkedIn, I always immediately just thank them for connecting. I don't try and sell them anything, but I go out of my way to thank them for taking the time to connect. It's me commenting. I think you know that, Guillaume, on LinkedIn, it's me commenting. So when, again, someone takes time to actually comment on one of my LinkedIn posts, I comment back, and that's the start of a relationship. Particularly I'm always interested when people are not first connections on LinkedIn. If they're seconds or third connections and they're commenting on my post, I'm kind of interested that they saw the post and liked what I had to say. But that also is me by human. Like I like human beings. Like I like connection. I like conversation. And so it's pretty natural for me. Like, I don't think of it as a task, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, this is too good, so I need to double down on this
Okay,
because
you go.
I
Double
think
down.
no,
Here we go.
I think you're really good at this. So many B2B coaches and consultants, they're gonna want to do LinkedIn, right? And they think that it's gonna be about posting once a week or maybe 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I've played the LinkedIn game. This is not my main acquisition channel, but I've
Right.
understood it. I'm sure some people are getting much more crazy results than I did. But
Yes.
so here is how I see LinkedIn working for B2B coaches and consultants. And I'm curious to get your take on this, Jim.
Yes.
So it's going to start with content. Now, the thing is that you have to bear in mind that everybody's an expert now on LinkedIn because
course.
ChatGPT comes up with amazing things. So you can use ChatGPT, but you need to come up with content that will actually include part of your own story, own expertise, real cases. You need to make it authentic, not just regurgitated content from GPT, Claude, whatever you decide using. You can leverage AI, don't make it the whole thing.
Yep.
Now, you can publish the best posts ever on LinkedIn. If you don't do that one thing, the thing I'm about to say, creating some tension here, you're not going to get results. LinkedIn is a networking place. The way the algorithm has been put together is that they're going to push your post only if you create engagement, and people create engagement with your posts as well. And so the very thing that you just said here, it is me writing the contents. It is me engaging with others. It is me replying to people and answering to the comments. If you want to make it on LinkedIn, this is it. And it's a volumes game. And it needs to be authentic. I typically see, so our clients who do this succeed by spending 1 to 2 hours per day on LinkedIn. I'm talking about building real influence, building real pipeline, and so on. The last thing I will say is you're going to get some inbound from this, but 70%, that's what we see, is going to come from you doing warm outreach. People visiting your profile, people commenting back, people engaging with you, people liking the post.
Yeah, I love that.
Out. If they fit, you reach out to them. And not like, hey, do you want to buy my coaching? More like, hey, thanks you so much for engaging. Like what made you interested to this post? Thoughts? What do you think?
I think you're 100% right. And I think the algorithm, again, I am not a LinkedIn guru, so I'm caveating this, but I think the LinkedIn algorithm rewards consistency. To your point, I went to 7 days a week posting at the same time every day, right? So and I played with the times, to be honest with your listeners, like, because I analyzed my audience and I analyzed who was commenting, like where they lived in the world. Were they in Europe? Were they in the western part of the United States, eastern part of the United States? Were they in Asia? And for me, because I am a writer and I'm working on new books and always working on articles and things like that, like I write my content kind of in 2-week batches, and kind of plan it out over 2 weeks. And I think the other key on LinkedIn is really good graphics, really good visuals. It's the writing and the visuals. And I have an amazing outsourced graphic designer that I found through another LinkedIn creator, because I loved this LinkedIn creator's visuals. And he said, oh, you need to meet him. I guess I can share the name. He's amazing. Ronak is his name, Ronak Rai. He's based in India, RAI. I'm happy for more people to use him, but I loved this other creator's name is Charlie Lass, and I loved his content. And I reached out to him and DM'd him and said, I love your content. How do you do it? Because I was trying to do it on Canva, to be honest with you, Guillaume. Like I was trying to be my own graphic designer. And I had to admit that I wasn't good at it. And it was taking me way too much time. And so by writing the content in batches and using a project management tool, I can work with a graphic designer in India, even though I'm in Georgia in the United States, and we're basically creating visuals and stories simultaneously. And I think that's pretty amazing. And I give him a lot of credit because I think he does. Sometimes he makes my stories so much better than they are just with the visuals, with a great carousel or a great photo. Like sometimes he blows me away. And we've been working together now about probably 10 months. And I can see the difference in my performance based on, I think the stories were always good, but the visuals are much better now. And I think with adult learners and the scroll thing, you know this, Guillaume, they're looking at they're going through their scroll and they're looking at visuals that catch their eyes. And then that will make them read the story or read the post. But I think the visual catches them first.
It's so funny. So one of my acquaintances on LinkedIn, and I love going down the rabbit hole of LinkedIn, by the way.
Mhm.
One of my acquaintances is a guy who does ghostwriting for founders on LinkedIn. He's the only guy I know who is getting 300, 400 likes, 200, 300 comments each and every day on each and every post,
Wow.
whilst being text only. So
Wow.
I love what he's extremely good at copywriting, like
Yeah, obviously.
right engagement. What I like about what you just said here, Jim, though, is find the thing that you vibe with and then be genuine and committed to it. Because if your thing is to tell a story with a good visual, back to what you said at the very beginning, which is the people that I attract, they're gonna vibe with you because this is your brand, this is you. So of course, this doesn't mean like do whatever you want and pray. It's more like do whatever you want, see what works, iterate, learn based on this, seek help to take it to the next level once you have a validated concept.
But I love that. I love that, Guillaume. The validated concept. I was gonna say another learning for your listener, and I'm sure many people know this. Like, I'll have an amazing post and I'll take that post and rewrite 3 versions of it and start posting it 2 weeks later or 2 months. I'm sorry, not 2 weeks, 2 months later. I try to do a month in between because I'm like, oh, they really like that topic. Okay, where else can I go with that particular topic, right? I mean, a lot of my stuff is about radical kindness and about authenticity, to your point, and authentic leadership and leading with empathy and compassion. And so I'm essentially writing versions of that all the time and just trying to figure out different stories I share, whether it's stories from my personal life or stories from my corporate life or story from my coaching and advising life. I try to illustrate the concepts. I mean, that's another thing that somebody told me about LinkedIn, and I'm sure you know this, is show people rather than tell people. I think people like to actually learn and like to illustrate, like, okay, so you say you have this theory, show me how it applies to my world, show me how it applies to my company or my culture or my situation. I think that's really important.
Amen.
And I'm learning all the time. That's the other thing. You said the same thing, Guillaume, and I love that about you. By the way, I'll have some posts that do amazing, and the next day I'll be like, did the algorithm not post me today? Like, literally, I'll be like, did I screw up? And some days I don't fully understand it, but you just keep going, right? You just keep going. And I'm like, okay, let's analyze why that one didn't do so well. And then, move on.
I love that. Jim, tell us a bit more about how you move this awareness, this problem awareness, this solution awareness, this engagement on LinkedIn into a sales conversation, into an engagement, into an SOW. Like, talk to us through your sales motion. How do you make that happen?
I mean, it does start, and I love that you talked about this. It does start with that genuine initial conversation, whether it's a connection or a comment on one of my posts or a referral from somebody.
Yeah.
And spending the time in that getting to know you pace, right? Like, not instantly rushing in, to your point, you said this earlier, to the sales pitch.
Yeah.
As I'm engaging with this person, and maybe I'm starting to engage on their content, they're engaging in my content more consistently, then I might say to them, is there any way that I can help you grow your business? Is there any way that, you just ask, very open-ended questions that are genuinely interesting. And
Yeah.
if they say, and then sometimes people will come out and say, as you know, Guillaume, because you do this, they'll come out and say, do you have a pitch document? Do you have a document that explains your coaching services? Right. And so, yes, I have one. Like I built a lovely that tells the story of coaching with Jim. And I'm happy to send it to people if they want it. And I always say to them, I'll send you the pitch document, but then I would appreciate the opportunity to actually jump on a call and talk about it. Right. Because I think the pitch document or your sales document or whatever you call it can only get you so far. And each client is different. Some people, it can be one or two calls and you're then sending out a SOW and, basically a scheduling link and you're starting to schedule the work. And other people might talk to you and then 4 or 5 months later come back and say, now I'm ready. Right. I think it's, again, a very personal decision. It's also a financial decision. Are they paying for it themselves? Is their company providing coaching? There's a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah.
Do they have the time to do the work necessary?
Yeah.
I find the same thing. It's funny. It just happened to me this week. The same thing with speaking. A person contacted me in March of 2025 about a speaking engagement in May of 2025. It didn't come to be. We had a couple calls. It wasn't right. That same person just emailed me this week and said, I'd love to talk to you about May of 2026. Right. So,
Nice.
I think there's a degree of patience that's required too, right? And maturity, and also being okay with no, being okay with it doesn't work out. I'm sometimes even in the consultation, this may happen to you too, Guillaume, and I'm sure other people you've talked to. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't think I'm the right kind of coach, but now I have coaching referrals. I'll refer them to somebody else in my network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes if they want a very technical kind of coaching or, they're a finance CFO and they want very technical coaching in finance, that's not me. I'm not a technical finance coach, but I know technical finance coaches, right? Or maybe they want more of a personal relationship coach, right? I know personal relationship coaches too. I'm not a personal relationship coach. So I also think it's about knowing what you are and what you are not. And
100%.
and referring people out. I believe in the karma of that. I believe if I share, it'll come back to me somehow. It's not always one for one, and I don't measure that. But I having done this now for several years, I have a network of coaches that I feel really comfortable with.
Yeah. Amen to that. How do you, once you sign an engagement, Jim, how do you make sure that you retain your customers? At the end of the day, B2B coaching and consulting is, sure, you need to have solid biz dev, but the growth is going to come from the capacity to retain your customers.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, by hopefully having very good quality coaching sessions where you are very present and you are actively listening. And again, this is where I love the coaching fundamentals that I got at Emory. A good coaching session, the client should be talking 70 to 80% of the time. And so I love, again, tools, right? That kind of the AI tools that are in Zoom now or in Microsoft Teams. I go back and review transcripts. I basically write reviews on myself, because I think the biggest skill I've had to learn, Guillaume, is when I'm coaching versus when I'm advising. Because advising, somebody's probably paying me for a solution. You know what I mean? They're asking me to solve a problem. Coaching, that is not our job. We are not solving a problem. We are creating an environment and asking the right questions and creating a relationship and a safe space for the client to kind of solve their particular issues or their particular opportunities. Very different. So I when I'm going into a coaching session, I will have a conversation with myself and be like, Jim, put on your coaching hat. You're coaching now. You're not advising. Versus a client who says, I want you to help me build my physical retail strategy, right? Like that's a very specific problem solve. And they're paying me for my time and my expertise to solve that particular problem by X deadline.
Yeah.
And I think you measure success in coaching by, you can watch growth happen with your client, but also even mundane things like, are they booking their next session on time, right? You know what I mean? Are they consistent, right? Because to me, one of the things I talk about in the consultation phase and the onboarding phase is coaching is not a light switch. So don't think we're going to do this twice and you're going to have these major insights. This is a commitment. And I've seen even when I'm being coached, the best results come from being consistent, whether that's every week or every other week, but it's like being on a schedule, because then you're prioritizing the coaching, right? It's not, if I start to see a client who's constantly moving their coaching or canceling their coaching, then I have a conversation with them and say, is this a priority right now? Is this the right time? And the answer can be, it's not the right time. That's okay. But I don't want to waste their time or money, or frankly, waste my time. If they're not in the mindset. I truly believe you have to be in the mindset to be in a coaching relationship.
Amen to that.
I can get you there, but you have to help keep yourself there, right? You know what I mean? Like it's a two-way street.
So at the end of the day, you want to find someone who's coachable, and you want to find someone who's gonna be constantly looking at getting better.
Growth mindset. Yes.
That's one of our values at GHA Marketing, by the way.
Exactly.
So I like that you say this.
Yep. Growth. They want to move forward, right?
Yeah.
They want to learn from mistakes.
Yeah.
They want to test some things and then learn and like test and roll. I talk a lot, but truly, do they have a growth mindset? And are they willing? I mean, you kind of mentioned it earlier, Guillaume. I love talking to you. Are they willing to hold a mirror up to themselves, right? I mean, a lot of coaching is you've got to have some tough conversations with yourself about, none of us are perfect. None of us are good at everything. And are you willing, again, to be vulnerable and be humble enough to be like, you know what? I'm not good at that. I want to get better at X. I'm good at Y, but I'm not good at X. Like that's a special kind of person.
You've been flying over this, James. So let me ask you a curveball.
Yeah.
What's your challenge right now? What's the nut that you're trying to crack, and that if you do crack, you want to take the whole business to the next level? If that's even the goal, right? But like, what's challenging you right now?
No, I think I'll be honest with you. I mean, because you touched on it earlier, is I'm trying to figure out how to scale without losing the genuine connections and the authenticity.
Yeah.
I see you nodding, right? Because it's
the number one challenge.
I'm looking at some methods. I'm looking at some group coaching ideas. I'm looking at some membership community ideas that I may play with in 2026, which would allow me, again, to scale, but without having 30 individual coaching clients a week. Like that's not my goal. My goal has never been to be like a doctor's office, right? To be like back to back to back coaching. That's never been my goal. But I would like to find ways to scale, not necessarily scale. Of course, revenue is part of it, but it's more about how can I scale impact, if that makes sense. How can I share? Scale impact. How can I share with more people more broadly? And even things like time zones, right? Like, because sometimes I get contacted by people in Asia. It's hard. to have a coaching client in Hong Kong or Singapore, right? I mean, it's just logistically difficult.
Yeah.
But I think if there was some tools that I've been looking at and learning, it might not always have to be me one-on-one, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's, I would say, is my biggest challenge, because I'm so rooted in authenticity and genuine connection.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that with tools and with systems where people can still spend time with me and learn and grow.
How are you planning on doing that?
You're asking me for announcements, but I'll tease. I mean, it's been
Go for it.
interesting. Launching the podcast has been one way. I launched my podcast last year, and I've been blown away at the growth of that and the number of comments. And in a weird way, podcast is coaching, right? I mean, you're with a guest, but it's coaching.
100%. That's skill.
And then I will be launching, I'm not committing to a date, but let's just say 2026. I am going to launch an online membership community of some kind. Let's just say middle of 2026. I've been working on it for about 7 months already. I'm really excited about it. It's a series of modules, training modules, things that I'm recording. There'll be some live elements to it as well, and like some group elements, but I'm excited about that. This online community that I'm working on.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I'm not giving the name, but it's a good name.
Looking forward to hearing more.
Yeah, I'll let you know when it's it's been a labor of love, I will say. And I'm working with an incredible team who's very good at this process and has built membership communities for other people that I admire.
Jim Fielding, ladies and gentlemen. Jim, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, get coached by you via your podcast,
yes,
where should they go?
I mean, honestly, we've talked about LinkedIn is the easiest. It is me. I'm James Jim Fielding, because I had to use my legal name. There's a booking link right there in my profile. My website is jimfielding.com. That also has a booking link on it. I promise all your listeners and viewers, if you email me through there, through LinkedIn or through the website, you are going to get to me. It is not going to a bot. It is not going to another person. I make an effort to get back to everybody within 24 hours. I don't always hit that number, but I do make an effort, and it will be me. And I think those are the two easy. Instagram is Jim Fielding. The podcast is Jim Fielding and Friends. So I'm very searchable and findable. It's really me.
We'll put all the links in the description.
Thank
One
you.
thing I can say for sure, Jim, is that you've gained at least one LinkedIn connection out of this.
I love it. Yeah, no, first off, I was so honored when you reached out and asked me if I wanted to be part of this, because I knew about this and I'd watched other episodes. So I really, really appreciate it. And I think the work you do is really, really important.
Well, I appreciate you, Jim. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.
So good.